Yay! Okay, you guys, welcome. This is episode 79 of the Align with Anna podcast, and it's such an honor to have Porscha be here. This is such a dream come true. We are at the Frontenac Library if you're in St. Louis, and this is the podcast room. And how we met was actually at the Next Core co-working space, which was in South City. Yep. And the reason I signed up for that is because they had a podcast room. So this feels like a full circle moment. Thank you for being here, Porscha.
I love it. I am so excited, Anna. Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
It's going in.
It's going down. Okay. So introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'll start here because I'm a healer. So I want to talk about not what I do, but the essence of who I am.
Yes.
You know, I love helping people. I love being able to see people in a way that really adds a spiritual level of understanding about who a person is.
Yes.
And I'm a grandmother, a mother of one, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to just be here with you in this space. We'll talk a little bit more about what I do, but I feel like you're going to get to know me on a level that nobody really gets to know me.
Yay!
And so that is what I want to be able to share and make sure that we are bringing in today. But I'll say this, you know, growing up as a little girl, you know how you knew that it was just something special about you, just something that you had a gift. You didn't know what it was. You didn't know how to utilize it. And now in this space, I am able to fully like understand the power of who that little girl was.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to be here, aligned with Anna. I got to say this too, because when we met, you know, when you are going through different transformations in your life, and you meet the right people at the right time. And I was at a time right before we met that I really started tuning into my spirituality. Tuning in to who I was. I was always a highly spiritual person, but really tuning in and understanding like, man, who am I as an individual? So I was doing a lot of, you know, soul seeking at that time. I had been through just different various of journeys of beliefs and understandings and religion. And right when I met you, I was at Next Core as well, and I started learning. This was like 2015, actually, so a little bit before we met.
Yes.
But in 2015, I really started learning and understanding about like the law of attraction, who we are, right? Like when you look at your life and you be like, man, why is things not aligning up how I need it to be? And, you know, what am I doing that's not giving me the results that I want? And I started tuning in. And when I got hold of that video, The Secret.
Yeah. Y'all, if you haven't seen The Secret, go watch it.
Yeah, it was so powerful, and it just unlocked something in me that I knew was already there, but it was just like, whoa, being able to experience it in that. And for me, that kind of really began the journey of these last 10 years. So,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
10 years. 10 years from 2015. We're now in 2025.
We are.
Every 10 years, I get a spiritual elevation. And this just said, hey, 15 to 25, I'm so excited to see where the Most High is getting ready to take my level of understanding. So.
Yes. Yes. Girl, I know what you mean about being a kid and like knowing that you know things, but not having any adults or mentors or people that can see you, number one, see you seeing things, and then number two, teach you what to do with it.
Absolutely. And I didn't have anybody to share it with because in the belief system that I grew up in Christianity, that was frowned upon. That was, it was thought of as, you know, being evil, witchcraft, all of the things that, you know, just there is a context to it, but there's so much more. And yes, there are ways to say how you have spiritual gifts. We do all have spiritual gifts and the opportunity to tap into them. And so I have gratefully been able to tap into the spiritual gifts. And for me, that was a big piece of the puzzle that was missing. So no, I didn't. I only had the people who had their set of belief systems that were ingrained in me. Mm-hmm. And we take that and we appreciate that, but there's more.
There's so much more. Yes, when you are so like highly sensitive, you can see into the future, you're a forecaster, you're a psychic, you can read minds, you literally can create things. You can watch and like make things happen. And I remember just kind of like Matilda, like just kind of like doing it by myself a little bit like on accident, but like then she had a teacher who was like, Matilda, come here, and like the first half of the movie, my son James, he's been watching it lately and he was like, I hate this. Like this man reminds me of so and so, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but like the second half of the movie is so much better.
Wow.
Because Matilda finally gets support and like a kind, sweet teacher that doesn't think she's weird, and lets her like dive deeper into it.
Absolutely. And I think that to me, it was right around that time because I found you, or we came into each other's lives, and this was like somebody who lived unapologetically in this life. Like I was like, okay, and then that allowed me to open up more and be able to share my spiritual gifts and not feel like I'm being judged or being, outside of, what it is. But also, too, I just think that at that time we just found the right people, too, because that has been such a big part of our growth is just having a collective of people who, won't judge you for your gifts and really be able to understand them and appreciate them in a way. Anna, you have seen my gifts at work in a way that nobody else really has. And it's like I still like kind of it's like, but I'm learning more to embrace it and utilize it in how I live my life, how I support the businesses that I support, the businesses that I work with, because I'm able to give them a spiritual insight into themselves and into their business. So I'm able to give more because I see more.
Right.
And to me, that's powerful.
Yeah. Why would you want a coach who can't see beyond, right? Like, what are they really teaching you for real?
Absolutely. And then I think once you're able to lean in spiritually, then you really have the opportunity. That's why people like find your purpose. Finding your purpose is a lot about finding your spirituality too. And finding it in a way that makes you whole. Yeah. Free of judgment, full of love, and to me, I've embodied a set of principles that really have helped me get more in alignment and see myself for the power that I really am, because I now know that the power is within me, the source. Yeah. When we think about our perception of God and, that to me is where the distortion have come from, right? We all believe that there is a power. Most of us do. Yes. We just have different interpretations on based off of our family's belief system, based off of just ignorance and not knowing. Yeah. And so I've done a lot of research, over the last 10 years, really, and I've learned so much, and it's been a blessing to me because I've been able to serve in a way that I've never been able to serve before, serve on a higher level of tapping into the whole person, not just the business, not just the self, but really like, the self, leaning right in to the core of who you are. Yeah. And living by these principles has really been, impactful and a game changer for me.
100%. Yes. So how did you find these principles and how did they change from like your childhood principles?
So I'll say this because in 2005, I had another real like powerful awakening, and I was living in Boston at that time, and I remember being in a church and God telling me, leave now. And I was like, okay. And, I was on the internet searching because my response was like, okay, so now what?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Right? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And so, just doing some research, I came into a greater understanding of just like who we are. And in 2005 I became a practicing Hebrew Israelite. And so to me that was a way to kind of step out and step into some more knowledge and truth and understanding. And so that was a powerful separation, to me, but it gave me an extra layer of understanding. And so what happened in 2015 was still understanding those principles. It was another one of those awakening moments for me, Anna. And it was swift, and it was, where you had to sit still and listen. And I found myself at one of those moments in, okay, so now what are we doing here? Right? And then it's like when you have that hunger and thirst for knowledge and righteousness, like what it really means to, live in righteousness and walk the walk.
Yes.
Then that's when that was given to me. And so I'm really just bringing all of these principles together. And so as I'm studying, and I'm like, well, who are we? Like, what are the essence of our being, right? Like, we have all these different belief systems that some of them may have come from us, but these principles are long standing. It doesn't belong to a religion.
Right.
It belongs to the way of life, to the source, to the power. And so it transcends. It transcends. And a lot of the belief systems are accompanied in this. So when we think about, who we are, the law of oneness, and understanding that who you are as a human being, that we are all connected, that it's do unto others as you will have them to do unto you. The law of reciprocity.
Yes.
Right? The law of balance, like really understanding what these principles are. And so I read a lot of books, Anna.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books, and I wanna share a couple of them with y'all today because
yes.
because I'm at a point in my life where I wanna come out and speak my truth.
Right.
Because I don't feel like I've shared really my story. And, when I come across a lot of people who are in different belief systems, right?
Yes.
But what I feel is so beautiful is because I understand these principles, I'm able to love you unconditionally. I'm able to love you on a level that transcends judgment.
Yes. Yes.
That's powerful.
It's so powerful. And, being here in St. Louis, this is like the Bible Belt, Missouri, right?
Yeah.
So when I came here, just like you, was like, damn, Anna was hella like out there, authentic, just like zero flex.
I love that about you, actually,
Thank
because I got that spirit within me too. And I was like, that resonated with me. I'm like, okay, I mess with her. That's okay.
Yeah. Our first conversation was fire. It was universal law, manifestation. You create your own destiny.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of folks that will, be around us that might be like instantly turned off or like, oh shit, like she's not like us.
Exactly.
Right. But I can still love you because I understand the universal law. I understand the real truth that you just don't know.
It's true.
Like you're like a sweet baby, but you just don't know. And so I'm not mad at you for like not vibing with me.
Exactly. And I think that some of the principles here, and I just kind of brought my notes with me because I just wanted to make sure that I was able to, glean from a good place. And so, again, these principles have definitely, ancient teachings. I'm talking about, Egypt, Mesopotamia, before we even get to the age of the Christian era. And so I just ask my Christian brothers and sisters, even my Muslim brothers and sisters, is, do the research for yourself. When someone's sharing information with you, it's not to offend you.
Right.
It's because we want you to know the truth. We want to speak the truth in love. We want you to be able to know.
Yeah.
And everything that is not Christian does not necessarily equate to evil.
Right.
But do the research on your own. And so I've just been able to, just through these understanding. And I mean, they've been called by different names: universal laws, universal principles, hermetic laws. But these are the laws that, the Egyptians, the Book of Thoth, all of those things had this type of knowledge and understanding in it. And so I know it's hard to kind of cut through the noise, but when I think about it, and I want to run through just some of them real quick,
Yes,
you
tell
know.
us.
So when we think about one of the principles is the law of mentalism, right? All is mind and the universal is mental. So this really means that everything originates from your mind, right? So as a man thinketh, so is he.
Ooh.
And so when I think about the Messiah, Yahushua, whom a lot of you all call Jesus, that is what he taught. He taught that God is within me, that power and that source is within me, right? And you can't get through it unless you go within. And so we look for God in the sky. And if we believe that God is our father and our support, then you come from your father,
right,
and your mother, right? And so God is the father, and the earth and the universe, the nature is the mother, right? And so it's understanding those things, and then understanding that you are a co-creator. We are co-creators. So we know that God has the full authority, but he has given you dominion. And that's what giving you dominion over the earth really means, is that you get a chance to, through your belief system, through your understanding, really be able to bring in and call in what you want.
Yeah, to participate, to do this together.
Exactly. Yes.
It's a collaboration.
It is a collaboration, but you can't collaborate with something that's not in alignment with you. Right? And so if I want to be able to give you these things as the creator of all, and you don't know how to tap within to get that, because we're looking on the outside for the feel good and not on the inside for the I know. Like we're getting from the I believe to I know.
Right.
It's because you are a reflection of yourself, which brings me to principle 2, the principle of correspondence, which means as above, so below, as within, so without, right? So you are a reflection. Your internal reflects your outside reflects your inside. Have you ever met someone who just really had, their spirit just did not sit well?
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. Yes.
And it's just something in that individual that it's polarized. It's the opposite.
Yes, it's
right?
polarized.
It's the polarized. And so we do have the law of polarization, right? And so that principle is just really understanding that there are two opposites to one being. You got day, you got night, you got hot, you got cold, you have so-called good, so-called evil. But that's also relative.
Yes.
The law of vibration. When we think about everything has a vibration.
Yeah, it really does.
High frequency.
Yeah.
And you attract the people that's on your frequency. And so I have a saying that I say, fly so high that they can't meet you on your frequency. Their frequency cannot embody your level of glow. You know how sometimes people they don't like you and they just don't know why.
Yeah. Yes.
And you could be sweet and everything, but they will just, nothing will satisfy them, right?
Yeah.
It's them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know why I don't like her.
Yeah.
That's you. Because you're not attuned to my frequency.
Right. And you're not for me. Like we're literally like, it's like a language, we will never be able to land and understand each other.
Yep.
Because it's not coherent.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And just really understanding, like, one of the other principles is cause and effect. For every cause there is an effect.
Yeah.
Whatever you think and put out there, you want to make sure that it's good. You want to make sure that it's bringing back good fruit.
Right. Yes.
Because if not, then you will have to reap the reward and the benefit, the cause or the effect, whether that's positive or negative in your life. And the people who would say, I've been so great, I've only had great things that happen in my life. I'm excited for you, but you're off balance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the balance of life is the good, the bad, the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
You could be doing great in one area and struggling in another area. Right? So it is a balance. But your goal is to let your good far outweigh your bad. It's not to say that you won't get it. It's not to say that things won't happen. It's just the order of the law, the order of the universe that the Most High created. And if you think about the Creator, I get excited about this, Anna. We've had some years of deep conversation, but now we get to share this good information, and so I'm just excited. I just feel like when we think about the totality of who we are as designed, right? The creator is a mathematician.
Yes.
When you think about how the moon and the stars align, how the sun rises, how the moon, how it sets. I mean, it is just beautifully and wonderfully made, how the oceans know not to go over until they've been called to go over.
Yeah.
That's a big ocean. This world is made of majority of ocean.
Yeah.
Right? The polarity, right? Oh my gosh, Anna, it's just so amazing, the wonders of the creator.
Yeah.
And so that's what I fall in love with. And so no matter what your belief system, to me, is just in kind of wrapping up this part, is you have to lead with love. Even when love isn't favorable.
Yeah.
The creator is love, but the creator is also destruction. Like the law of gender. A lot of us, we just refer to, God as a man, but the spirit of the creator is both masculine and feminine.
Right.
And so where do we get this thinking from that it's all masculine?
Yeah, the distortion. Yeah, and so much of that is human error, because a lot of what you talk about, the law of mentalism, correspondence, polarization, cause and effect, that's like science and chemistry and math.
Yes, it
like,
is.
Literally,
Anna.
if you paid attention in high school, a lot of this was told. You were told this,
Yep. But it wasn't put in the context in a way that we could understand it.
Right.
It was only given to us as the benefit for the earthly whole, right? To make sure that chemists can make things, they can, create things. And even in me saying that, that's a part of the science. And they're continuously trying to figure out the essence of the Most High, the essence of the Creator, the essence of the Divine One. And I don't know if we'll fully get it in our lifetime, even if it was ever meant for us to fully get.
So good.
It's so good.
I love what you talk about when love isn't favorable too. Like when we talk about Yeshua, a lot of people hated him. Same with MLK, right? He was like the most hated man for a while, And so when love isn't favorable, when it's not popular, when folks don't understand, but this is right, this is righteous, this is just, this is the way forward, and you might be the only one for a while. Your name might get slandered. People might misconstrue your stuff and write Bibles about you that are totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it might seriously get warped, but the truth will always prevail. Light will always win. Light will always win. Light is information.
I believe that. And, one of my most favorite areas of study when I was studying Yahshua and just really like understanding the nature, there is a period in that's not accounted for in the Bible from when he was a child to when he was an adult, right? So he came back into the scene like at the age of 30,
right?
And so just and a lot of these other countries and nations actually have the information.
That's what I'm saying.
And so that's the key. That's the piece.
Right.
And so now it's just kind of being open and revealed. But he went to Asia. And he studied.
Yes, he did.
He studied what is now believed to be like Hinduism and Buddhism and all of those principles, like those ancient principles. I'm not giving it a title. I'm saying he went on a quest to study those ancient understandings. And then when he came back into his old setting, right, into the place where he was born, he was on a whole nother level. He was on a whole nother plane. Right. And so his level of thinking was, they was like, what is he talking about? This is blasphemous. No, what is he talking about? And he came with love, right? It was some man-made laws and principles that they were adhering to. They were also worshiping, different beliefs and gods and things of that nature. And, his understanding was higher, right? And so he knew exactly what he was here to do. And like he said, you will do greater works than this. But for the people that understand that, and guess what? He only had a small group around him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He reached many, but his core was small.
Yeah, and you talk about that a lot, Porscha.
I do.
Yes.
I do, because there are very few people who I feel comfortable enough to even be around to just be in this space.
Yeah.
And to me, this podcast is just so meaningful for me, because to me, I feel like this is like a coming out moment. Like, you already know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm just so grateful for you too, Anna, because like, without you being in my life, I think that it would have possibly been harder for me to come out into. I feel like I would still probably be in this shell, but just opening up the way to just have a conversation. And we may not always agree on, you know what I'm saying, but most times we do, because we understand this, like, we live this, we study this. We don't just assume or take any word for, but you're a person of knowledge too. You're a knowledge seeker, and, it's not going to look like what everybody thinks it should look like. I just implore you to do the study and research for yourself, and be open-minded when you come across information that may not align with what you traditionally know.
Right.
I ask you to challenge it. In my book, The Art of Unleashing Your Inner Rebel, right? Part of that too is, hey, leaning in. What do you need to look into in your life, right? Examine every area of your life, your belief system. Why do I believe this? Was this just given to me? Was this, something that I inherited? Do I know this to be true for myself?
Yeah.
Right? And so when you come across this knowledge, you got to be able to lean in, ask for guidance and protection, and more importantly, understanding.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think it's so beautiful that you did write these books and you did give people a blueprint. You gave them a workbook. You're like, hey, here's a journey. And a lot of it is just questions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving you the answers necessarily. Like, I'm asking you to look inside.
Exactly.
And it's okay to change and to pivot and to grieve and to realize, like, oh my God, maybe my parents or family like steered me wrong, but they didn't know. So it's not really their fault either, because they didn't know. But like, once you awaken, and that's what awakening is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're just like, wow, I get it now,
Man, Anna, so you just said something that just stirred my spirit, because my son came to me probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He's 29. And he was a couple years ago, because he started going through his own spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And even the things that I had taught him, he came and checked me on it. What he didn't realize, though, was that my level of spirituality had increased. And so the things that he thought he was going to challenge me with, I was able to, respond accordingly. He was like, you knew this? You was holding on to all this goodness? And I said, you got to realize you haven't been in my house in over 10 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but I told him too, I said, well, I apologize, because I only share with you at my level of understanding at that time. And I was grateful for the growth. And I was also grateful that the Creator also had given him that enhanced knowledge and understanding. And gave him the courage to even come and address me about it. Right?
That's huge.
That is huge.
Yes.
That is so huge to me. And I was thankful for that. I was like, wow. The work that I done put in, you know.
Right. Where when he comes to you, it's not a threat anymore. It's like, oh yeah, I do remember that. At the time, yeah, I did believe that. But since then, like, this is actually what I believe now. And actually, like, we're really similar. Your curiosities and questions actually, like, make a lot of sense now.
Yeah, and that blessed me that he was even challenging his own belief system.
Yeah.
And he started doing the studying and the research for himself. And then he was able to come back to me. And I'm like, you know what? You absolutely right. You absolutely right.
Yes.
And to me, that was powerful, but that blessed me all in the same sense, because I raised somebody that God allowed the opportunity to also be a part of that and say, hey, you seeking the knowledge? I'm going to make sure that you get the knowledge. So that's a blessing to me.
Right. Oh, that's so beautiful. So beautiful. I love also that you talk about asking for guidance and protection too, because in the small circle, you need like safe spaces like your son has with you. You guys chose each other to come here and do this together.
Wow.
And you chose this like beautiful relationship. And like he also has children. You're a grandmother. So for him to be able to work through some of this, knowing that he's raising some babies,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's powerful because, you know, I'm always in awe that I get a chance to see my legacy in the flesh. Right? And I know that there's going to be more to come after them.
Yeah.
But we get the chance to correct that. And when we talk about legacy, you know, LaTanya Honor, we were at a women's event a couple weeks ago, and I asked a question about what legacy are you preparing to leave for your children? And she said, I am leaving intellectual legacy.
Ooh.
And that lit me up. I love LaTanya. Shout out to you, LaTanya.
We love you, LaTanya. She is on the podcast, and go listen to her episode because she is fire.
Yeah.
So courageous, so out of the box.
She is
untraditional. Like, I'm not going to subscribe to the mainstream because she's a learner. She's a seeker. The intellectual legacy.
Absolutely. And so when she said the intellectual legacy, I said, wow, how powerful is that? Because I think that when we think about legacy, we leave that out. Right.
Yeah.
But it's not just about monetary estate planning. It's about wealth. It's about transferring down information. It's about health. It's about knowledge. It's about wisdom. And so it's about stories. And so when we think about the legacy that we are leaving, like that intellectual legacy, that spiritual legacy is also a huge important part of that, because you don't want your children and grandchildren growing up with the same old narrative and mindset that's outdated, that was false to begin with, that you know was created to bring destruction and not positivity, right?
Yeah.
And bring love. Yeah.
So much with the distortion and the narratives, like so much pain and harm and war and like suffering, and like it's insane, the judgmental like criticism and like ostracization of people. It's outrageous. You know, you think the Most High wants that? You think he wants that? All of it? No. Like spirit? No way.
I agree. Wow.
Yeah, that's the human error. That's the human taking over, thinking that they own this. It's just, we need freedom. It's like, here's the buffet. Here's the buffet of all the beautiful things you can tap into. Here's some favorite books. Here's some podcasts. Here's some videos.
Yeah.
Here's some like different prayers. Like when you talked about the universal laws, it made me think of Ma'at and her 42 laws from Kemet, which is Egypt. And Ma'at is the goddess that was for justice, literally.
Yep.
And so there's 42 laws, and guess what came from that?
Exactly. These very same principles.
Yeah. And the 10 Commandments.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? But they left a lot of it out,
They
right?
did.
From 42 to 10. Okay, you cut a lot out, right?
Yeah. And even greater laws than that. I mean, like civilizations ran from these laws. And the thing about it is, one thing that you just cannot count on is the human character.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people are going to have darkness within them. Right? Like when we even think about the human balances of the world, you know, and when we look at the cartoons, the cosmic fight for good and evil, right? It's like a polarity. So it's like when you understand that there is going to always be some element in there, the more we seek for love, the more that we come out of fear, right? Because fear is hate. Fear is the opposite of love.
Yes.
Because if you're operating in love, then what do you truly have to fear?
Nothing. Yes, and you think about like the Disney movies, how there's always like a crisis in the first 5 minutes. So you're like programming these children to be so afraid, to be like ready to lose a parent immediately and then struggle for hella long. And then you're like adopted by somebody else, and then you're hella confused about your life. Like, we want our children to be grounded. Immediately grounded, to have faith, and also to have options to change and pivot.
Absolutely. And I believe that the truth is the truth, you know, but the truth can also be subjective, because what could be true for me may not be true for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the objection to love that I'm referring to, is when what you do in your language of love, if it doesn't align with mine and how I show up, then I have to still respect your language of love.
Right.
And I have to be okay with that. Now, does it fit into where I'm going and align with my purpose? Maybe not. And then the law of polarity will automatically, and the law of frequency, right, will then separate you from that. Like if you had a friend that you were a long time ago, you guys were like really close and tight, maybe time, space, levels of, frequency rising, could have affected that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You guys get on a different frequency, and it's not that this frequency is better than this frequency. It's just where you are, and as a result of that, you're getting what level of frequency you are. You're getting what you put out. What so within, so without.
Yes.
What you think is what you believe is what you're gonna get.
Right.
So if you have a lack mindset, you're gonna keep getting lack. Right? If you have a negative mindset, then you're going to keep producing what you feel and what you think.
Right. Yeah. Cycling until you know better, and then you do better. But you have to know the I know.
Absolutely.
It has to be embodied. Like every cell knows the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Well, we can go all day.
We can. Okay, but Porscha, will you tell us a little bit about the legacy that you're building now and a little bit about your work for us?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Anna. So, I am a business coach and strategist. I'm celebrating 19 years of full-time entrepreneurship this year. Exactly. And I am very excited about my new project that I am working on with my son, my legacy, called the Chosen Legacy Project. And our goal is, because I identify as a chosen one. I know this to my core. I've been knowing this, and now this is my out party. I'm coming out, and I'm also wanting to bring the chosen ones along with me. And so the Chosen Legacy Project is really identifying the chosen ones of the family and really equipping them to go out to be the leaders of their families, to be the leaders of their community, and really help our community, particularly the Black and Brown community, leave legacies for their families, helping them make sure that if something or when something happens to them, that they're going to be protected, right? Wills, trust, power of attorneys, making sure that we're having the conversation, because we usually don't have the conversation.
Yeah.
And so I want to just start having conversations with people. I want to stop being able to, if something happens or somebody pass away, we got to do a GoFundMe. We have to
scramble when you're like grieving and like trying to do it all at the same time.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
And just really, creating a deeper impact in the community, making sure that we are building wealth, right? Having the proper insurance that we need, having opportunities to create different paths of wealth, like stock, understanding and dealing with stock market. I've been working in the stock market for a few years now, and I'm getting better, and I'm doing some amazing things there. But that was a tool that I wanted to bring to my community too, because we are behind. And so now we have an opportunity to really, even the playing field. And so, creating wealth through real estate investing, through community developing, through, understanding the stock markets and building residual and residual income. And so we compensate our legacy ambassadors to make sure that, hey, because wrangling up the family is challenging. Y'all know y'all people, okay? And so we just want to make sure that they are getting compensated for that. And, I just am so grateful that I get a chance to really do what I love to do. And in this phase of my life, I'm phasing out the things that I know how to do and don't want to do anymore. I'm losing the passion to do, and then really focusing in and narrowing in on making a greater impact for the people that I serve, the communities that I serve, and the businesses that I serve.
Girl, I think that's so powerful, because so much of your journey was the business and learning entrepreneurship and how to just create your own time and freedom and not have to work for somebody else and deal with all the politics or whatever.
Yep.
And then now moving into like learning financial literacy. You had credit building. She has helped me multiple times with credit and like literally getting a business credit so it doesn't come after your personal. And then now adding the insurance and adding the will, trust, and power of attorney. When I signed my papers like a month ago, I was like, ooh, I could die today. Like
And
I was like, my children are protected, and you never know what life throws at you, right?
That's
You
right.
could think that you're safe or whatever, but like you need to sign the papers. You need to
do.
do it and get it notarized. I did it right here at the library for free.
Wow.
For free.
Yes.
Just like this is for free. Okay.
I
But
love
Porscha
it.
has been my mentor through so much of this financial education that we don't really get like until you meet someone. And even if you go to college for like a business degree or like a financial
No,
whatever.
they're not teaching this.
Oh my God, man. And so this is almost like the completion where you're adding the legacy of intellect too. So having like a library of like, okay, so now that you guys got your home, you got your trust, you got your, the whole family, the medical, whatever.
Yeah.
Now let's give you some like enlightenment.
Absolutely.
Right?
You know what? And that's why I just am so excited about where I am right now, because I get the opportunity to just share my heart with people in a way that I never have before. I've kept business on one hand and personal on another hand. And it's like, they have to coexist.
Yeah.
They have to coexist.
That's who you are.
It is who I am. And I love sharing knowledge. I love being able to, heal people through my words and just really speak life into them and just show them the power of possibility.
Ooh.
Because just seeing, I'm just grateful that I'm able to just see them in a way that they don't see themselves a lot of times.
Yeah.
But I'll say this because iron sharpens iron, and you've been very instrumental in my life as well. And if we don't have relationships that are reciprocal, like that's important, like you nurture me in a way that, helps me to grow in other areas. I mean, you've just been that for me for a really long time, and I appreciate that. I just want to let you know that in real time. And if you don't have people who are rooting for you and who are in your space and, who want to see you win in a way that, more than what you want to see, and who push you and who challenge you and all of the things, hold you accountable to who you are. So
that holds you accountable.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. This was such a blessing meeting in 2018 when James was a baby.
Yep.
And then just so you guys know, Porscha is a Gemini, just like me. Our birthday's only 4 days apart.
Yep.
And she's a manifester in human design. So usually in the episode, if I know their stuff, I'm going to drop it because I think it's hella interesting. Like Latanya, we talked about, she's an Aquarius. So guess what? We're air signs. We're intellectual and we're also communicators.
Absolutely.
So it makes a lot of sense that so much of what we do is speaking.
Yep. It's true.
It's educating. It's teaching people.
Yeah.
And giving them a buffet, like a non-judgmental teacher.
Yeah. And you really helped me like through human design too, like really understand the lane that I'm supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Because when you multi-gifted and multi-talented and you could do a lot of stuff, that could also be a hindrance to you, because you be like, I'm all over the place, but you have helped me to say, no, Porscha, you are the visionary. You are the person that, creates.
Yeah.
You manifest things. You bring things from the inside to the outside, right? And then understanding that, it helped me to realign how I moved.
Yes. Let me focus over here.
Yeah.
Because, like I will break the mold, I'm the pioneer. I am the visionary. I'm going to shatter ceilings.
Yeah, and I can't be spending 8 hours on a website. You know what I'm saying? Or 8 hours on my social media or my marketing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It takes away from my glory, right?
Glory.
But when I understood that, I'm like, that's why it only takes somebody else an hour or 2 hours to do something, and it takes me 10 hours to do something that a person that's in their lane and in their gift.
Yes.
When they could do that, like.
Right.
So it's just like helping me stay in my lane. So I love it.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. We're back. Ran out of a little space on the camera, but we're back. Okay, so Porscha, let's talk about your final thoughts. What do you want the people to know? Is there anything you want people to know today, a takeaway?
I'll say my biggest takeaway is lean in go within, do the research in understanding why your belief system is the way it is. Why do you think the way you think? Who am I? So that is always the age-old question. And I need you to be okay with challenging who you are currently.
Mm-hmm.
If you want better, if you know that you deserve to have a life of abundance, of wealth, of health, and you're not getting what you want, then that's a you problem. And so my challenge for you all today is to really look within, to really take inventory of what's working well in my life. What can I do better? What stories have I believed about myself and about my upbringing that does not align with who I am today and where I'm going?
Yeah.
Challenge the belief. Whatever you believe in, I challenge you to challenge the belief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Understand why you're doing what you're doing. Why do I believe what I believe? Why do I do what I do? Who am I? What am I supposed to do? Why am I supposed to be here? And so I'm saying lean in and be open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Being open-minded to something, that new information that you hear, don't automatically shut it down. If you want to challenge it, lean into it.
Lean in. Yeah. And yeah, if you're not where you want to be, it's a you problem, and you can change it.
You can change
Like, we
it.
have power. You don't have to be hella depressed and sad and like, woe is me. Once you start going down the rabbit hole of why,
Yep.
how did I get here? It's like,
Exactly.
okay, well, now you know.
Yep.
Now you can do better.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'll say this, go get my book. It's on Amazon, The Art of Unleashing Your Inner Rebel. Like, for me, that book transformed me, and I've been through that book 2 or 3 times, okay? Just because I'm always self-analyzing. I'm always thinking of ways to, like, when things change in I would see my thought system, my thought changing and my mindset changing, I always go back to that book. And so I'm on my third The Art of Unleashing Your Inner Rebel workbook, and
Yes.
working my own self through those cycles, because it's a powerful book.
Yeah.
And so I'm asking that you guys go to Amazon and check out the book.
Yeah.
And if you want the copy signed, then connect with me. We'll get that done. Chosen Legacy Project. So again, that's the project that I am very passionate about. I get a chance to do this with my legacy, my son, and we're looking for legacy ambassadors. We're looking for the chosen ones, you know, the people who are really ready to step up, who's ready to live a different lifestyle and show their family how to do the same. I want to connect with you. You can go to chosenlegacyproject.com and you can schedule some time to talk with us to get more information. But we're on a movement right now, and this movement, this train has left the station. It is rolling really fast, and so the impact that we're making and getting ready to make in nationwide and in the St. Louis region is just really amazing to me, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. So you also can reach me at on Facebook, Porscha Anderson on Facebook, and the Chosen Legacy Project on Facebook. We're excited about just really locking into just bringing you this type of information too. As Anna said, like, this is a part of the legacy. Understanding who you are, who we are as a people, telling your story, understanding your story, and making it relatable, passing those stories down to your children, to your grandchildren, giving them something to be proud of. And so that really is my biggest takeaway and how you can connect with me.
Beautiful, Porscha. Well, thank you. That was everything.
Thank
So
you.
beautifully wrapped.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All the information is going to be in the show notes, you guys. And thanks again for being here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yay. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Okay. If you're looking for the most ethical, powerful and magical fucking aromatherapy on the planet, I got the shit for you, okay? When you don't feel abundant or creative, confident, sexy, like on top of the world, this is the kind of shit that's gonna help you. I created this skincare line as an extension of my high school senior project. All natural aromatherapy experience, because that's what we did back in the day. On our priestess, bad bitch, queen shits, we used oils, the purest fucking oils that not only penetrated your skin, it anointed you. Waking up first thing in the morning, clearing yourself between meetings, before you pick up your kids, that's the kind of shit I'm on. Almost like if you were saging, but you don't need a lighter. So let me introduce you guys. These make beautiful gifts. A holiday gift, for a Valentine's gift, or a galentine for your clients. A sister circle, somebody's birthday coming up. I also have an affiliate program. So if you want to sign up and you want to be a brand ambassador for Align with Anna, you get paid. To learn more about that, please go to alignwithanna.com/get paid, and let's grow together. You can also shop wholesale, Etsy, and Shopify. As a mom, as someone who really values her self-care and her routine, I use all of these daily, and it's gonna come in a sweet little box. I will put some beautiful tissue in there. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Shop today.